There is a mirror you avoid, not because you're vain. You've never been particularly vain, but because somewhere in the last few years, something changed in what the mirror shows you. And the change is not about beauty, it is about time, about the specific, irreversible, undeniable evidence that it is passing, that it has been passing, that it will continue to pass regardless of what you do or don't do about it. A line that wasn't there before, a gray hair in a place that surprises you, the way your body recovers from a late night differently than it used to. Small things, ordinary things, and yet each one carries a weight that is completely disproportionate to its size. Because you are not reacting to the line or the gray hair, you are reacting to what they represent, to the notification embedded in every one of them. The same notification the last video spoke about. The one that says, "This is temporary, and it is getting less temporary every day." The fear of getting old is not about wrinkles. It has never been about wrinkles. It is about the question the wrinkles are asking. And the question is this: what have you done with the time that produced them? Think about the last time you looked at a photograph of yourself from 10 years ago. Not the feeling of nostalgia. That comes later. The first feeling. The immediate, unguarded response before you had time to contextualize it. For most people, that first feeling is something close to grief, not for how they looked, but for who they were. The specific version of themselves that existed in that photograph, younger, less careful, less aware of what was coming, and that no longer exists in the same form. And here is what is interesting about that grief. It is not really about the past, it is about the future. It is the recognition, arriving through a photograph, that the person looking at the photograph is also going to become someone else. That the you of right now, the one reading this, the one with this specific face and this specific energy and this specific relationship to time, is also going to be a photograph someday, looked back at, grieved over, by a future version of yourself who will not be able to return to this moment any more than you can return to the one in the picture. That is what the mirror is showing you when you flinch at it. Not a flaw, a fact, the fact of your own temporariness, written into your face in the most personal language possible. And the flinch is not vanity. It is the oldest fear there is, dressed in the clothing of aesthetic concern, because aesthetic concern is easier to admit than what is actually happening underneath it. The body is the most honest thing you own. It does not perform. It does not manage impressions. It does not tell you what you want to hear. It simply records. Every late night, every year, every choice and every season and every joy and every grief, all of it written into the tissue and the bone and the skin with a precision that no journal could match. And as you get older, the body begins to show you that record more clearly. Things that recovered quickly now take longer. Energy that was once automatic now requires management. The body that once felt like something you inhabited without thinking now requires a more deliberate relationship. And for most people, this shift produces a specific kind of terror. Not pain exactly, not illness, but the awareness arriving through the body's changing language that the machine has been running for a long time, that it is not infinite, that the warranty, as it were, is not unlimited. But here is what most people miss in their relationship with an aging body. The body is not failing. It is recording. Every line on your face is a line that was earned. Every gray hair is the physical residue of something you lived through. The body that looks different than it did 10 years ago is the body of someone who has been alive for 10 more years than the person in that old photograph. and 10 more years of being alive is not a loss. It is an accumulation. The question is not what the years have taken from you. The question is what you did inside them. There is a specific kind of fear that arrives not from looking in your own mirror, but from looking at the people you love. The parent whose hair has gone fully white since you last paid attention. The friend whose face carries the map of a decade you both lived through together. The partner whose body has changed alongside yours in ways that are only visible because you have been close enough and long enough to see. Watching someone you love age is one of the most profound and least discussed experiences of adult life. Because it does two things simultaneously. It shows you the passage of time in a face you know better than almost any other. And it confronts you with the fact that their time, like yours, is not unlimited. A woman described watching her mother walk across a room at a family gathering. She said, "I saw her from across the room before she knew I was watching, and for a moment I didn't see my mother. I saw an old woman, and then she turned and became my mother again. But the old woman was still there, and I couldn't unsee her." That moment, the moment when someone you love becomes briefly visible as mortal rather than permanent, is one of the most quietly devastating things a human being can experience, because it removes the last comfortable fiction, the one that said, "At least this person will always be here. At least this one relationship is exempt from the clock." It is not exempt. Nothing is. And the awareness of that is not a reason for despair. It is an invitation to be present with the people you love, not as if they will always be there, but precisely because they won't. Here is where it gets complicated. For many people, the fear of getting old is not really about the body. It is about the identity that was built inside a younger body, the version of themselves that was forming, professionally, romantically, creatively, socially, during the years they now look back at. That version of you had possibilities that felt open, career paths not yet chosen, relationships not yet defined, creative work not yet committed to, a future that felt genuinely multiple. Any of several things could still happen, rather than singular and narrowing. And as the years pass and the choices accumulate and the paths not taken become less available, the younger version begins to feel like the real one. The one with options. The one who hadn't yet used up the possible versions of themselves on the one version that actually happened. This is why some people in their 40s describe feeling like imposters in their own lives. Like the real them is still back there somewhere in the 20s or 30s, and the person who has been living since then is a kind of usurper. More responsible, more defined, more arrived at, but less open, less possible. And aging becomes threatening not because the body is changing, but because each year that passes is another year of possibility converted into history. Another year of the future becoming the past. Another confirmation that the self is not infinite, and the life is not unlimited, and the version of you that was going to do everything is now the version of you who did some things and didn't do others, and is running out of time to do the rest. Here is the thing about time that the fear of aging prevents you from seeing. Every year is not what you lost. Every year is what you inhabited, or what you didn't. The difference between those two things is everything. A year spent fully, present in your relationships, honest in your work, alive to the ordinary texture of the days, doesn't make you older in any way that matters. It makes you more. more experienced in the specific way that cannot be faked or shortcut, more capable of the kind of love that only comes from having loved through difficulty, more yourself in the way that only happens when you have been tested and returned. A year spent managing the impression you make on others, deferring the things that matter, performing a version of yourself for an audience that didn't ask for the performance. That year does age you, not in the body, in something harder to see and harder to recover from. The specific fatigue of a life unlived accumulates differently than the honest tiredness of a life fully inhabited. And at the end of both, there is a reckoning. But only one of them produces something worth reckoning with. The wrinkles are not the enemy. They are the evidence. The question is what they are evidence of. Here is what the people who age well, not in the cosmetic sense, but in the sense that matters have in common. They stopped fighting the clock and started consulting it. Not in a morbid way, not in a way that produces paralysis or grief, or the dramatic rearrangement of everything, but in the quiet, daily, almost unremarkable way of someone who has accepted a simple truth. The time is finite, and it is happening right now, and the only version of it that is ever available is this one. The conversation that keeps being postponed. The creative work that keeps waiting for conditions that keep not arriving. The relationship that keeps being managed from a distance instead of inhabited up close. The version of yourself that keeps being saved for a future moment when you feel ready enough or safe enough or certain enough to let it appear. That future moment is this one. It has always been this one. Every tradition that has accompanied human beings through the passage of time across cultures and centuries, and every form of belief that has ever tried to make sense of a finite life has pointed at the same truth in different languages, that there is something in the experience of being alive that is not diminished by the years, something that deepens rather than fades. Something that the passing of time, if you are present inside it rather than running from it, makes more rather than less. Whatever you believe about what the years are building toward, and that belongs entirely to you, the invitation of aging is the same. To be here, in this body, in this year, in this specific version of yourself that will never exist again in exactly this form. Not the younger version you are grieving, not the future version you are waiting to become. This one, right now, already enough, already worth inhabiting fully. The years are not taking your life. They are your life. And how you meet them is the only answer to the question the mirror has been asking all along. Before you go, think about one thing you have been saving for when you feel ready, when the conditions are right, when you are younger enough or older enough or certain enough to begin. What is that one thing? Drop it in the comments. Just one thing. I read every comment and I will reply. If this reached something you've been running from in the mirror, subscribe. This is what we do at the phrase Decoder. We find the question underneath the fear, and sometimes that is the beginning of the answer.